Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining us today. You overslept, huh? I did too. I woke up late today. I woke up at 8 instead of 7 o'clock. So Kyle, they're copying the concept map. Oh, did I take it out? Did I take it out? This one. It's in Schoology as well, honey. So just go to slide 3 in the concept map link. That's where they're copying this from. Okay, I'll give you one more minute, then we're going to get started. "45 seconds. You will still use your notebook in the next activity. Either that or you will log into the Desmos link that I'm going to send to you. Yeah. Okay, if you're done, I'm sending the link to the Desmos in the chat. So go ahead and open that. Either you work on Desmos or you do it on your notebook. Okay. And I just want to show you one thing also, because some students, prefer to work with Kami. Excuse me. So for this activity today, if you want to type in Kami so it will be easier to turn in, I did attach a PDF copy. So if you click on 3.4 Desmos, yeah, so it's doable in 3 versions. Stay in Desmos, or you open the PDF copy. You can open it with Kami so you can type on it, or stay with your mighty paper and pen. Yeah. Okay. Am I sharing my screen? Resume share, new share. Okay, so if you open 3.4 Desmos, it has the link, which I also put in the chat. And then this is new. If you want to do it with Kami, you can also open it. Or just grab your paper and pen, your notebook and pen, and we'll get started. Okay, so let's see. I have so far 7 in Desmos. So I will wait for a little bit more. Okay. If you're using your notebook, I would appreciate if you will tell me in the chat so I know that I'm not waiting for like 31 people to go on Desmos. I have 9 so far. So if you are doing it on your notebook, can you please type notebook on the chat so I would know? Thank you, Anna. So I don't have to wait for all of us to be online. Yeah. Thank you, Angelina and Harlow. If in the middle of Desmos you get glitched out, you can also continue on your notebook. Yes. In fact, some of them we will write on the notebook. So It's a combination of both. Thanks, Latanya and Cesar. Okay, what about the others? Have you guys decided where you're going to do this? I just need to know because I have 13 in decimals and I have about 2, 4, 6, 8 on notebook. So I need to hear from maybe 8 more from you guys. So can you tell me whether you're doing Cami or doing notebook if you are not in decimals? Okay, so for those who are doing it on their notebook, the first slide is we're doing y is equal to a certain number. Y is equal to a certain number. So how do we graph it and how do we make a table of values, right? Okay, so the first question is explain y equal to 4 in words. Explain y equal to 4 in words. So how do we do that? So let me go back to your concept map earlier so I can show you where you guys can find the interpretation of that. Okay, so if you look at the green portion of your concept map, there's a part there that says if the equation looks like y is equal to a certain number, right? Then this is how you interpret it. For every value of x, the value of y is, and put whatever the number is. Okay, for every value of x, the value of y is, in this case, we have 4, right? So you either type that in decimals or write it down in your notebook. I'm also going to write over here. So I'm answering number 1. Am I sharing this? Do you see this? Share, new share. Okay. So for number 1, for every value of x, okay, the value of y is, and then you take whatever number you see there, that's 4. Okay? So for every value of x, the value of y is 4. So write it down on your notebook or write it in decimals. So if you're using Kami, type it up. Okay. So as we go over these examples, you will be able to like touch up on all the things that you copied in the concept map. So I'll explain all of them one by one. Okay. So for every value of x, the value of y is fixed. It's y is equal to 4, right? And that will help us do number 2, which is create a table of values. So go ahead and finish that. So if you guys are done writing that on your paper, I'm going to use the space over here to do number 2. For number 2, we're supposed to create a table of values. That should have been straight. Okay, so to make a table of values, you need your x and a y column. We need your x and y column. Okay, and if you're doing it in decimals, you're only going to you will be entering only one ordered pair. You'll be able to enter one ordered pair only. But if you're doing it in your notebook, you can do a couple. Okay, so based on what you wrote, for every value of x, which means we can put any value. So I'm going to throw in a negative number just so we could try for negative, for 0, and for positive. So if you're doing it on decimals, you can only enter one specific ordered pair. But if you're doing it on your notebook, you can enter at least, these 3. So for every value of x, which we now put as -1, 0, and 1, the value of y is just equal to 4, no matter what. So that means you're just going to enter 4 repeatedly. Okay, so you're just going to enter 4 repeatedly. If you are in decimals, you could just pick whatever number you want for x, and you type 4 for the y. Okay, let me see if I can see your tables. Yep, I can see Brian and Shalia starting on their tables already. You can only enter one pair if you're doing it on decimals. Okay, so don't freak out if you can't enter more than one. So just pick any of the 3 that you see on your screen. Okay. All right. Okay, so number 1, we've written what y equal to 4 means in words, right? Number 2, based on the meaning, we were able to create a table. Now let's go to number 3. Show how to find the slope from the table. Show how to find the slope from the table. Okay, so make sure you're looking at your screen. Yeah? So let's figure out by how much are the y values changing. Can somebody type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, whichever is faster for you. Can somebody tell me by how much the y values are changing? Anybody? 0. Very good, Angelina. That's great, honey. And if I haven't said it, I'm happy that you are joining us today. Okay, so 0. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, there you go. So 0 over, right? Because they're not changing. So 0 each time. Now, what about your x numbers? By how much are they? Very good, Shalia and Annecy. Yep, it's not increasing. So by nothing. Okay. So what about your x? By how much are your x changing? 1. Very good, Fernando. So 1, 1. That's what we're going to put in the denominator. Awesome, Shalia. So what is 0 divided by 1? What is 0 divided by 1? 1. Very good, Angelina. Are you sure? 0 divided by anything? 0. Okay, there you go. All right. So 0 divided by any number is 0. Yeah? Okay. So what does that mean? Okay, just look at your screen. I'm just going to go back to our concept map earlier. So I said earlier, oh, where's my concept map? Here. So if you have an equation that looks like y equal to a number, just like what we're doing now, y is equal to 4, the slope is 0. The slope is 0. So when I was your age, I tried to memorize like this. H-O-Y, hoy, ahoy. Yeah? Hoy. That's like the Filipino counterpart of hey, like when you're calling someone like, hey, Shalia, hey, Annecy, in Filipino say hoy. Okay, so I memorized it that way because it's, easier for me at that time, right? So it means the slope is 0, and the equation looks like y equal to a certain number. Now, what is the h for? That's for the graph, and we're going to show that it's horizontal next. So the slope is 0, right, based on the table. So now how do we graph it? So when you graph that one, I'm going to graph from scratch here. So you guys can do it on your notebook. If you're graphing on decimals, you can do, that should have been straight. You can do a better job on your paper. It's kind of hard to write on this tablet. Okay, there you go. So that's the x and the y axis. Now we're going to graph y equals 4. Y equals 4. So how do we do that? Well, you can use your table. Let's say, for example, when x is -1, you go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. When x is 0, you go up 4 again. And then when x is 1, you go up 4 again. So pretty much, whatever the x is, it's just going to be like a straight line. That should be straight. I'm sorry, guys. Just make it straight on your paper. And it should be hitting all those 3 points right there. Okay, so it should be a horizontal line. This is your y equal to 4. So that's what we mean. That's what we mean by the mnemonic that I put there. Okay, I lost the pen. Where is it now? HOY. It's a horizontal line with a 0 slope, and the equation is y equal to whatever number they give you. Okay? Can it give you time to like finish that up and ask questions if you have any? Okay, make sure you guys understood those 4, how to explain it in words, how to make a table, how to find the slope, and how to graph. If you understood all those 4, you're good. You can do the next one again. And any other example that has, those types of equations. Okay, may I clear the ink? I'm not sure if I gave you enough time. So I'm going to clear the ink now. Alrighty. Now let's move on to the second slide. So on the second slide, it's basically asking for the same thing, but now the equation looks different. Instead of y equal to a number, it's now x equal to a number. And let me make sure I'm sharing this screen. New share. Okay. All right. I can see 14 of you in decimals. Moving on to the next slide, but I'm just going to switch to the teacher or to the student slide so we can see how you guys are doing. Okay. All right. So here we go. Explain x is equal to -2 in words. So remember, we follow the script, for every, right? So for every, oh, I'm not writing. So for every, this time, what are you going to put? Your x is now fixed. So that means it's the y value that changes. So for every y value, the value of x is -2. So for every y value, so for any y that you come up with, okay, the value of x is -2. So that's important because that will help you how to create the table. Okay? All right. So now we're going to create our table of values. I did not give enough space in decimals, so sorry for that. But I'm going to create like a bigger table of values here on the side. So for the table, let's come up with your t-chart again. Remember, your x is fixed. It's -2 no matter what. This time it's going to be the y that changes. So you don't have to think, of very high numbers. I would suggest, just use a negative, a 0, and a positive. It could be 2, -2, and 0. So we could try. Yeah. Both negative and positive. And since your x is fixed to be -2, then you just write -2 repeatedly. Okay. So that's how you create a table of values. And then we're going to do the same thing again that we did earlier. We were asked how to find the slope, and you guys were able to help me with this earlier. Am I going too fast? To copy the table, we need the table to find the slope. So let's see. I need you to answer me in the chat again. By how much are your y values changing? By how much are your y values changing? 1. Very good. They're going up by 1. Good job, Evelyn, Angelina, and Shalia. Okay, but what about the X column? By how much are they changing? 0. Very good, Angelina. Awesome. Okay, so then let's write down the slope. So the slope will be pretty much your change in y. You remember these triangle symbols? They mean change in y over change in x. Okay? Is equal to, so you guys said the y's changed by 1 and the x changed by 0. Ooh, what happened now? When you put 1 divided by 0 in your calculator, it's going to say letter E. I don't know what it would show on an Android or an iPhone, but in the calculator, it's going to show letter E. That means it's error. So why is the error? This means division by 0 is not allowed. So we call this undefined. Undefined. So the slope is undefined. We saw that in the concept map also earlier, right? So if I could show you the concept map very, very quickly so you know where to find these. So when the equation is x equal to something, it's undefined or the slope is undefined, right? And now we're going to graph it. It's not going to be horizontal. It will become vertical. So let's graph that. I'm going to use this graph here as a background. So if I want to graph that, oh my god, I can't even trace the line straight. Okay, so that's the x, the y. Okay, x, y. All right, so now let's graph them. The points are -2, so 2 to the left, and then -1 down. So that's 1 point. That's -2, that's -1. Okay, when x is -2, y is 0, so that means you stay there. -2 and then stay there, so 0. Next is -2 again, but you go 1 up, so this is 1. There. So how does your graph look like now? Your graph will look like a vertical line. Okay, that's my best attempt at that vertical line over there. So this is x is equal to -2. So that's what I mean by the mnemonic that I gave you, the shortcut that I gave you, VOOX. Now that has no meaning. It's just like to remind us that it's a vertical line with an undefined slope, and the equation looks like x equal to something, x equal to a number. Okay. All right. So I'm pretty sure at some point in time you're gonna get confused whether the graph I'm asking you to draw is a vertical or horizontal. So you can use those shortcuts, HOI and VOOX. Okay, depending on what the equation looks like. All right. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds to copy whatever you need to copy. Then we'll move on to the third slide. It's really cold. Forgot to wear socks. What do we put on the bottom one? That's where you're going to describe the steepness and the direction of the graph. So how do you describe it? So for number 4, you could say the graph, when it's asking for steepness, it's pretty much about the slope. So the graph has undefined slope, right? And is vertical. There you go. The graph has undefined slope and is vertical. That's for the 4th one. And you can, if you feel like you don't know what to write, always go back to your concept map. Remember? So you have there the graph is vertical. It has an undefined slope. So that pretty much is what we're looking for. All right. So let's move on. I'm gonna clear the ink, guys. Yes. And here we go. Let's go to number 3. All right. Now this time, it's not just x alone or y alone. It's now both of them present in the equation. So in your notebook, you write down 3x plus 4y is equal to 12. Okay. All right. Now you're going to humor me in this one, okay? I need your help. So your index finger, put it next to your screen, and we're going to cover one of the expressions, okay? So right now I'm covering plus 4y. You guys should follow. Come on. Because this will teach you a very good shortcut. So your index finger, you put it on the screen. Are you covering plus 4y? Okay, then what do you see? Can you tell me what you see when you cover 4y or plus 4y? Can you type in the chat or say it aloud? What do you see? Very good. 3x is equal to 12. All right. So if you have 3x is equal to 12, then divide both sides by 3. So what do you get? What is x equal to? 4. That's awesome. And you've gotten one of the answers already. So see, use your index finger, okay? Cover the plus 4y. So what are we doing? When you're trying to find the x-intercept, pretty much you're assuming that your y is 0. So you're letting the y value be 0, and you're getting the corresponding value for x. Okay? Now we're going to do it again. So we have the x already. We're going to get the y. So what will you cover with your finger? So earlier we covered 4y. This time I'm going to cover 3x. Very good. So cover 3x. I'm not covering the plus because sometimes that's a minus and it will go with a 4. So just cover 3x, and Emily got the answer already. Okay. So if you cover 3x, you will see 4y equals 12. And Emily said, oh, why did I write 3? I was excited to write Emily's answer. So divide by 4, divide by 4. So y is equal to 3. Very good. So that means when x is 0, your y is equal to 3. And those are the 2 points that you need to graph it. You ready to graph? Let's graph it. Here we go. So, oh my God, I can't even make a straight line over here. Jeez. All right, so 4 for x. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your 4, 0, yeah? And then 0, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's your 0, 3. And then after, you just connect them with a straight line. Oh, I did not hit the 4. Okay. You can do a better job than what I did. All right. So that should be a straight line. I'm sorry. So that is the graph of 3x plus 4y is equal to 12. And how did we get that? We graph it by using the intercepts. Intercepts. Okay. So I know I used those buzzwords right there, but you know where to find them, right? Let me show you your concept map again. What do we mean by an x-intercept? It's in the blue one. The graph crosses the x-axis at the x-intercept. And how do you find it? To find it, you set the y equal to 0. So that's when we cover the 4y. Okay? And similarly, the other intercept, which is the y-intercept, it's where the graph crosses your y-axis. Okay, so describe the key features of the graph. When you say describe the features, you just mentioned the intercepts. So the intercepts are, so the graph has intercepts at, what are they? 0, 3 and 4, 0. Okay. All right. Now you can also describe the slope of the graph, its slope is, okay, now how do you find the slope without making a table? Well, you can find the slope from the graph. You ready? Here's the trick. You go from one point and count to the other. So start here, 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 down, right? -3 because it's going down. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 to the right. So +4. Yeah? So the slope is -3/4. Easy? Yeah? Okay. So go ahead and finish what you need to copy there. And then we're going to move on to slide 4. Slide 4 is going to be another example on this. So be ready with your index finger and you cover the X and the Y portion alternating. Okay, ready? I'm going to clear the ink. And let's go to number 4 slide. Okay, this is number 4. You will do the same thing that we did. Okay, so be ready to help me out. You got X plus 3Y is equal to -9. I'll wait for your answers in the chat. You have to give me what X intercept is and what Y intercept is. So to find X, you cover the plus 3Y, right? So when you guys cover the plus 3Y, what is X equal to? Take away the plus 3Y. Very good, Shalia, negative, and Emily, -9. There you go. If you don't want to do the cover method, here's another thing that works for me, and maybe you can also find this helpful. You just write it twice, and then, you erase one, yeah? So that's X equal to 9. Well, here you erase this, and then now divide -9 by 3. Okay? So you could do that too. And Emily said the other intercept Y is -3. That's great because if you cover the X, you get -9 divided by 3. That's awesome. So let's graph that. Oh, we need more space on the Y or on the X. Okay, I'll just use one box equivalent to 3 units. So I go -3, -6, -9. How about that? Yeah? Okay, so this will be a dot on -9, and the other one is -3. So -3 on the Y, and there you go. Okay, so that's our. Oh my God, whatever I do, I'm not hitting it straight. Okay, and I'm trying, really, I'm trying. I'm even like moving around this table right here. Okay, but anyway, just connect that with a straight line. Okay, now it looks like a curve. My bad. All right. So that has to be straight line. Okay, so now let's describe the graph. So you say what the intercepts are, right? So the intercepts are -9, 0, and the other intercept is 0, -3. Now how do we find the slope? So remember, you go from the leftmost point and then count down. So when you count down, that's not one box. Although it is just one box, but this one is going 3 down. So -3 down, and then 1, 2, 3 boxes, but each box is 3. So this will be 9 to the right. Yeah? Okay, so the slope will be m is equal to -3/9. If you reduce that, that's going to be -1/3. So when you describe the key features, you say what the intercepts are, which are the ones at the bottom, and then you say the slope, which is -1/3. All right. Okay. So when you guys are ready, let's go to slide 5. Mm-hmm.